Hi everybody, Chris Stokes from Custom Fitness Personal Training Studio. I have been asked so many times, why won't my stomach get in the game and actually flatten out with all this work I've been doing? Well, let's take a moment to kind of look at that. So there's several different factors that could be affecting that, and we're going to get into three things that definitely are big possibilities. But let's take a look at what you maybe aren't focused on. So a lot of times people are going to the gym, they're doing crunches on their back, they're doing crunches on their sides, they're doing tons and tons of planks and things like that. And while those are all great exercises, if you're not performing them correctly, or you're just going through the motions of them, not actually working on the contraction of them, it's a whole different ballgame. You're not going to engage the core correctly. So first off, any ab exercise that you do, you've got to actually be engaging the core. And that means it's almost the same sensation as if you were sneezing, coughing, throwing up, anything like that. You're going to pull your ribs into your hips. You're going to squeeze your stomach in. What happens is a lot of people tend to suck in. When you suck in, you lift up tall, you lengthen the spine, but you don't actually do anything for the muscles. They actually disengage and you displace organs. That's really all you do with sucking in. But if you engage your core, if you squeeze it in, you provide a brick wall against your spine, you activate all of that musculature. Now remember that your core, again, is not just your stomach, but it actually goes through the length of your torso. When you're engaging that core in, say, a plank, you're actually engaging from the elbows pulling down, the toes or knees pulling in, whichever you're on, and the abs pulling in against the spine. So you're getting a full torso workout here, making sure that everything's working together. So that's really what we're aiming for, is making sure that every exercise is fully efficient by actually engaging the core. So a lot of times people will be doing either full roll-ups, full sit-ups, leg flutters down at the floor level, things like that. What happens is typically their stomach starts to push forward, and we have to remember that the abs are a group of muscles that the way you work them is the way they're going to look when you're done. So if you're pushing them out all the time, you not only are going to have a weakened core, but you're going to have a nice barrel to finish out with. If you want that flat stomach, you've got to be able to pull those stomach muscles in as you're doing those exercises. So a great way to do that is to practice contracting in that engagement first, pulling your ribs into your hips, engaging that stomach in, and then doing smaller movements first to make sure that you can maintain that contraction before you make these big ginormous things. Now, the next thing is that in the fitness industry, I'm sure you've kind of seen this trend over time, but in the last decade, the fitness has figured out that really training your core on your back, training your abs on your back, is not the purpose that they were intended for. They were intended to help us when we're standing and moving and all those kinds of things. So within the fitness industry, the trend has been that we started to train the abs in more of a standing position, a prone position where you're face down in your plank, but mostly standing as well to where you're moving with it. So perhaps, say, take like a band decline chop where you would grab up top on a band or a cable machine and you push it down and rotate across. So the core is actually truly activated in that exercise. And the more that you, again, focus on the engagement of those muscles, the more you're going to get out of it. So the more you put in, the more you get out, just like always, right? All right, so let's say that you're doing the absolute perfect ab routine. Everything is wonderful. Your abs are on fire. You feel it great. But then over a week, over a month, over a few months, you notice that your abs just don't look right, right? You look in the mirror, you still have this gut. What's going on? Well, second area to look at is your posture, which we're going to talk more about in another video for sure. But you want to make sure that you're actually contracting those abs. So somebody as skinny as a rail could be walking around and look like they have a pooching out stomach because they're not engaging their stomach. So a lot of times that happens, especially after having kids. You stretch the stomach out and then it doesn't remember how to react. Or after losing a lot of weight, we stretch the stomach and then we don't remember how to engage it correctly. So the more that you can walk around squeezing in, engaging, standing in good posture, the more you're going to feel like your stomach looks the way that you want it to look. So your emotions are going to match what you're feeling and what you're seeing. And that's going to be a big part of the puzzle, is learning how to engage that core, because again, somebody could be as tiny as possible, but if they're not engaged their stomach, it's still not going to look right. So you've got to learn to engage. The rule of thumb, the optimal goal, is to learn to engage your stomach 80% of its capacity all day long, right? So how do we do that? Well, if you think about like holding your stomach, put your hand on your stomach here and you would squeeze your stomach. You probably can't see with my jacket, but you would squeeze your stomach away from your hand so your hand's not moving with you. It's staying at the original point here and you're squeezing away, and you squeeze in 10%, 20%, 30%, 40%, all the way back to 80%. It's going to feel like a huge squeeze. So just about when you think you can't squeeze anymore, there's just a little bit more that you can do. And that's what you want to learn to hold during the day. How do you practice it? Well, you start out practicing 3 times a day. Think breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Practice squeezing that stomach in. Find stoplights that you're sitting at. Practice squeezing that stomach in. Lift up a pencil to write something. Squeeze your stomach in. You get the drift. There's a lot of places that you can practice it. It's just a matter of making your mindset that that's what you want to do for that day. And the more that you practice that, the more it becomes a subconscious habit, so that then you find that you're actually holding it in when you're not even thinking about holding it in. Great day, right? Okay, so let's get down to the 3 big things that really could be causing a huge problem. If you're doing everything right in your exercises, you're holding your posture in, your stomach's still just kind of something's wrong with it, you can't figure it out. I'm sorry to say, but it comes down to your nutrition. Nutrition is 70 to 80% of this. Abs are not made in the gym, they are made in the kitchen. You've heard that a million times. Nutrition is huge. If you are not getting in what you need, the right balance of foods, and you're eating crap too often, it's not going to happen, and you're not going to have the stomach that you want. Truth be told, majority of what you're needing is to increase those vegetables and decrease your grains, not your carbs, but to decrease your grains. How often are you having bread, pasta, rice, oats? How often during the day are you having those things? What could you decrease, not eliminate? I'm not saying that, but to decrease them to a moderate level. Make sure that you're getting in the ultimate goal, 8 to 10 servings of vegetables a day. Whether you drink them, you cook them, you have them raw, whatever it may be, 8 to 10 servings is your magic number. If you're starting to get those things in, you are going to see some dramatic results in your body. Number 2, hydration. If you are not fully hydrated, your body is not going to work well, 1, which is going to lead to constipation, 2, which is going to lead to a bulging stomach, right? Not to mention all the pains and, bad mood and all that kind of good stuff. So drink your water. Get in half your body weight in ounces of water every day to help relieve that issue and help your stomach to start to flatten out. All right, number 3 is a big one that a lot of people don't realize. Maybe if they've been watching me long enough, they might. But inflammation. People can be carrying around up to 15 pounds of inflammation on any given day. Think about cutting your finger and it gets infected. What's it do? It swells, right? So if you eat the wrong foods, the foods that don't agree with you, not that they're, not talking about just junk food and stuff. I'm talking about foods that maybe you have a sensitivity to and you don't realize it. Maybe it's dairy, maybe it's wheat, maybe it's soy, maybe it's a sugar issue. There's a lot of things going on there. Your intestines begin to swell, and as they swell, you are not processing foods as well, you are not absorbing foods as well, and you are experiencing a larger distended stomach than what you normally would. You may not have any other symptoms. You may not have the runny nose, the headache, the stomach pain, the heartburn, any of that kind of stuff, but you may have a distended stomach, and that's a good possibility. So if you would like help flattening out your stomach through nutrition, through better exercising, through posture correction, that's what my team does. We take every effort to customize to you exactly what you need to be able to get to where you want to be. So if that's something that you're interested in, feel free to give us a call, 806-322-3188, and we would love to sit down with you for a consultation. Just go through some ideas that we have, see if we can be of help to you, and see what we can do going forward. I hope you have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.